3 defendants, including the former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, are facing federal charges for human trafficking and years of SA against dozens of victims. 80-year-old Michael Jeffries and his longtime partner, 61-year-old Matthew Smith, were indicted last Tuesday for using fraud and coercion to violate young men around the world. Michael Jeffries ran Abercrombie for 22 years, starting in 1992. Under his leadership, the company became one of the most popular and sophisticated brands in teen fashion during the 1990s and 2000s. Their advertising was well known for featuring all-American hunks, typically without much clothes on. In fact, it was Jeffries' idea to showcase these topless hosts outside of their stores at grand openings or special events. Last year was when a class action lawsuit was filed by 15 plaintiffs, all of whom were once aspiring fashion models with big dreams of working for Abercrombie and Fitch. They were as young as 19 years old during the time of the abuse, which allegedly took place at parties that Jeffries held at this house of his in the Hamptons in New York, or at these 5-star hotels in Morocco, France, and the UK. These gatherings, which he spent millions of dollars to organize, occurred from 2008 to 2015, shortly after he retired as CEO. The third defendant, 71-year-old James Jacobson, he acted as the recruiter and would make initial contact with the potential victims. He would sometimes convince these candidates to carry out intimate acts with him first, and then he would personally handpick the ones to be invited to his boss's parties. The so-called lucky ones would then be flown out to the mansion or hotel, where they were promised offers of lucrative careers within the company. While they were all financially compensated for these trips, nobody was allowed to leave once they got there, and apparently, Jeffries and Smith didn't take no for an answer. If the victims tried to say no, they would be threatened and said to be stripped of any potential contracts or job opportunities. One plaintiff recalls that the champagne he was given must have been laced with sedative drugs, because after one glass, he passed out and woke up with a condom inside of him. Prosecutors also claimed that if the attendees refused to engage or could not physically do so, then they would be injected with a chemical to produce their erection. All 3 of the accused have denied any wrongdoing, but if convicted of the human trafficking offenses, they could each face 15 years to life in prison. Matthew Smith, who has dual citizenship in the UK, remains in custody right now. James Jacobson is out on a $500,000 bond, and Michael Jeffries, who has pleaded not guilty, is out on a $10 million bond.